Today on Locked On Red Wings, Elmer Soderblom gets his first goal of the season, Dominik Shine makes his NHL debut, and Marco Kasper and Lucas Raymond dethrone the LA Kings, giving Detroit a 3-game winning streak.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. Scotty's a host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News, while I am a color commentator for Oakland University, ACHA D1 men's hockey. And Scotty, what a win at LCA tonight. Detroit goes 3 for 3 on the homestand, 3-game winning streak. And once you group in the overtime loss to the Philadelphia Flyers, it's a 4-game point streak as well. First time all season the Red Wings are 3 games over 500. I'm going to ask you in a moment what your first thought in this hockey game was. There's a lot of individual moments. This game was kind of all over the place as well. But first, I got to let the people know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and it's the worst possible matchup everyone could have wanted, or not wanted, rather. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than the last with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started to make the most out of a horrible matchup. Scotty, that part wasn't, I added that. That was customization there at the end. Scotty, what a night. Red Wings, 4-game point streak, 3-game win streak. Lots to break down in this hockey game. What's your first thought on how this game transpired?
I don't even know. I mean, I had a lot of thoughts throughout the game. I think my first thought, this is kind of a spoiler for Difference Maker, but like my first thought was just really a lot of excitement for Marco Kasper. I thought this was kind of a coming out party of sorts, right? You know, and we've been seeing the progression for a while. And we've been talking about how his point production has really inflated and taken kind of another step here, really since the turn of the new year, I would say, over the last, 2-3 weeks. But I think that this was really, I mean, that goal he scored was unbelievable. Obviously, the empty netter was we'll take that too. But like the not empty net goal he scored was absolutely ridiculous. Incredible display of not only coordination, but just athleticism in general. And I think that along with what he does on the defensive side of the puck and the situations in which McClellan already is comfortable using him in is really a testament to how advanced he already seems to be. So, yeah, I know I kind of jumped the gun on Difference Maker there, but like my first thought really was just like, wow, Marco Kasper rocks. And this was, I really do think kind of a like I'm here type of game.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that sentiment. I mean, I wrote down 2 difference makers just instantaneously because it was so obvious who the 2 were in this hockey game. And I don't blame you for having your first thought also be your difference maker, because I think that's his first 3-point night of his career. That gives him now 11 points in his last 10 games as he continues to heat up. I think I said he had 15 points going into this game. 8 of those were in the last 9. So add another 3 on that. That's 18 points, where 11 are in the last 10. He has, since his promotion, has gained more and more confidence, and you can see it, right? His primary assist on Lucas Raymond's goal. They have the wherewithal, while battling for net front presence and battling for a rebound out front, to see that puck and tap it back door to Lucas Raymond, who's breaking. I don't know if he knew Lucas Raymond was coming or not, or just hoping to knock it to somebody who was loose, and he did successfully. Lucas Raymond with a beautiful backhand shot. I mean, that's a veteran-type move. That's and that's also the type of play that we were promised, and I saw with Grand Rapids during their playoff run last year, is a guy who, despite not being the biggest guy in the world, he's not small by any means, but he's not like 6'4", 250 pounds or anything like that. He's a decently sized guy who's not afraid to get to the dirty areas, and that's what he excels at. Honestly, that's something that that top line with Larkin and Raymond needs, is a guy who's not afraid to get to the dirty areas and free it up for the more skill guys like Larkin and Raymond. But
No, go.
I was going to say, Steve Eiserman did say it on the draft night. He does have underrated skill, and we see that blossoming more and more every day. That goal he scored, I mean, that wasn't necessarily a skill goal. Beautiful 2-on-1. He let the defender take the pass. He got the shot. But one thing that Prashant Iyer noted on Blue Sky, which I thought was very apt, was the fact that most players in that moment, young players, will defer to the more experienced player for either to pass the puck to them on the 2-on-1 or let them get the rebound. But no, he looked at it like the seagull from Finding Nemo and said, mine, and just bounced on his own rebound and knocked that in the back of the net. So he had a great performance. Obviously, Larkin giving him, the opportunity to seal his 3-point night with the empty netter as well. But Marco Kasper just blossoming in front of our eyes, which is fantastic.
So one of the other things that I didn't mention before that I really wanted to make sure I brought up as well is, did you pay attention to the formation and who was where on the power play?
He was filling in.
That was Larkin and Raymond were on the wings, and Marco Kasper was in front of the net. I don't know if I'm comfortable calling it like a pure bumper, like, because it wasn't quite it was more of a rotation thing than like a pure 1-3-1. But
yeah.
He was the net front, and he was the guy in the middle, right? And like they again, not a true bumper. They weren't like, passing it inside to him and making him, go back to the outside with it. But like he was everywhere in the middle, and like that was so cool to see. Like, who was in the middle of that power play? Like it was a 5-on-3 as well. So like another reason maybe as to why they felt comfortable doing it. But like, I don't really care the situation. I thought it was awesome, right? Like it was Cat, Raymond, and Larkin were all out there. And Marco Kasper was the man in the middle. I just thought that was really cool.
Absolutely. And I mean, right there, you mentioned the name of the other obvious difference maker in this game, the first star of the hockey game, which was Lucas Raymond, who, we talk about players blossoming in front of our eyes. I mean, obviously we saw Lucas Raymond kind of blossom before our eyes last year, but he's taking very clearly another step forward, which is something we wanted. And we weren't sure. We were like, was last year kind of what his ceiling would be as in terms of production, or does he have more yet? Well, he's proving very fast that he has more yet. A 4-point night for him, obviously finishing on the opportunity that Marco Kasper presented him with to get the Red Wings back to within 2-1. That don't want to undersell that goal either. Huge goal to get back after the whoopsie that Moritz Seider had in front of his own net. 35 seconds later, gets that goal back. That immediately resets the team. Like, okay, we're fine. Because
it was a beauty too, man.
Oh,
backhand crashing the net.
And crashing the net is the biggest part of that sentence that I love, because that's something the Red Wings didn't do a lot of very well, during their last 3-game losing streak that they had, where they were getting pounded, or during Derek Lalonde, where it was just trying to score off beautiful opportunities or off the rush, not really getting to the middle of the ice. And they've been doing that better. That obviously has won. We'll talk about Soderblom's goal, I'm sure, in segment 2 or segment 3. But I mean, that goal and all of his assists too. Like the one stands out the most is the power play where he gets the puck from Moritz Seider and just skates across the top of the zone. He's trying to draw defenders and draw eyes to him, and then just boom, all the way across the zone, backdoor to Alex DeBrincat, who buries it for his 20th. Does he say
that while he does it too?
I hope he says boom as he does it.
Does he go boom?
Yeah. I was trying to emphasize like how quick it happened, and like and props too to DeBrincat, because last year's Cat would have sent that wide, whiffed on it, or hit the post. But this year he has been money.
It wouldn't have been wide; it would have been over. He would have gone over the crossbar for sure. Yeah.
This season he's been money, and then the 2 underrated plays are the 2 secondary assists he got. The one on Marco Kasper's first goal, where he saw a hit coming along the boards, but he just needed to get that puck out, sacrificed the body, took the hit, chipped that puck out for Marco Kasper on the 2-on-1. So Lucas Raymond is now, after a 4-point night, has 56 points in 50 games. That puts him 15th in the NHL, tied for 15th in the NHL in total points. He's a top 15-point player. Top 15 scoring player in the NHL currently. Yeah. That is incredible. He's on pace for 91 points.
Amazing. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
When was the last time the Red Wings had a 90-point player? 2008, 2009?
We'll have to, we'll have to go back to, because I remember doing the FanDuel odds episode we do every preseason. and talking about like odds for player X to get, 80 plus points or 90 plus points. I don't even know if Lucas Raymond was an option. Like if they literally even offered, the ability to bet on Raymond to get 90 plus. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
So much love for those two players in this game. Just absolute coming out parties for these guys. I mean, Lucas Raymond's had 1,000 of them last season, especially down the stretch.
Right, yeah. I'm not really sure you can call Lucas Raymond's that, but I understand the sentiment for sure. There's a lot of really good performances in this game.
Trying to find any like new adjective or way of saying Lucas Raymond is very good. That's
Lucas Raymond's coming out party was your first episode, brother.
That's very fair. The hat trick against the Chicago Blackhawks, correct. We're going to head to a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about notable performers because there's a lot as well. Notes, too. Lots of injury updates to cover as well. So stay tuned to that. Segment 2 of Lockdown Red Wings. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two awful teams, and endless possibilities for our pain. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting or infuriating when the refs call it a 50-50 ball for the Chiefs again than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or how many flops Mahomes is going to have, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill of kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com today to get started. Bet just $5 on how many plays are going to be just short of the first down marker, even though it was clearly over. And if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59.
Do we have to clarify that like half of those things you definitely can't bet on? There's
Probably.
no way that they're going to have a... I know you're upset, and I know America's upset, but like, yeah, I don't think there's going to be how many plays are actually first downs and called not first downs prop bet.
A prop on how many flops that Mahomes is going to make.
Yes, just to clarify, should consider.
Right.
They should actually consider that one.
Just to clarify, any reference I made to the Chiefs or the Eagles in that read, all the Chiefs, that was completely me ad-libbing. Everything else, Keno, but
great.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. I think I was grasping at straws a little bit towards the end, but I was pretty happy with how I
liked it though. Let it out, brother. Should have been us. Let it out.
It's not even that. I'm just so tired of the Chiefs and everything going their way all the time.
Well, everyone is, so.
I know. I'm not alone in that. Scotty, segment 2, Lockdown Red Wings podcast. Notable performers. I had to pause, make sure I didn't say difference makers like yesterday. Notable performers.
You've been doing that a lot lately, dude. Let's step it up, You
know what it is I'm going too fast. I got to slow down.
There you go.
And think before I speak. Something I've always struggled with.
Same.
Who is your top notable performer in this game?
I'm not sure it is going to be a notable performance in terms of like box score, but like how can you not have Shiner be one of the notable performers in this game? Just absolutely awesome, making his NHL debut at 31 years old. Just such a cool story. I love these types of moments in all of sports, and the NHL, like official NHL accounts, did a great job of talking about it and making sure that it was, marketed and that everybody could see how cool of a story it really was. So shout out to Shiner. Had a couple of hits, one huge hit before we hit record here. Had a nice shot on net. I don't know if it was technically on net at the end of it, but had a nice shot in this game. Almost had an assist. Had a nice setup that just missed. Like he was out there. He was also, he was started off at least on the third line. I don't know. They did blender a little bit there toward the end. I don't know if he finished there, but yeah, man, like it was a solid debut. Good for him.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much to love about the story. He played just shy of 10 minutes, the fewest on the ice. I'm not surprised by that as a career
Right.
AHL guy, journeyman. But I mean, just an absolutely fantastic story. He's from Michigan, Pinckney to be exact. He played for Little Caesars and CompuWare, the Lincoln Stars of the USHL, going to Northern Michigan where he wore the A, then 9 seasons with Grand Rapids, getting better every single year. He's got 32 points in 40 games this season. I mean, Andrew Rinaldi, I remember last year, Andrew Rinaldi mentioned it. We asked something along the lines of like his favorite player or the biggest
No, I
surprise,
think it
and
was.
he went off the board and talked about
Yeah, I
Dominik
think it
Shine.
was like who is the player that people don't talk about, or like that isn't
Yeah.
one of the like main like prospects, that we should know is doing really well down there. And I feel like every single time we have had Andrew on, he brings up Shiner in some capacity. Like that dude is very clearly a huge deal to that locker room and that team.
Yeah, a glue guy in the locker room that has
Yeah.
been getting more productive as each season progresses. I mean, he had 33 points in 65 games last year. He's already got 32 and 40 this year.
He's
Like
been
his
great
production's
this year.
taken another step up, and his role's been increased too, right? Because some of the guys like Marco Kasper and
the
Elmer
promotions.
Soderblom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's great story. I think one of the pops in my fridge exploded. That's why I looked back. I heard a pop. So that
Your
happened.
wife is going to actually kill you, I think.
Dude, so remember when I was telling you off air about how a couple of the sodas were like knocked over? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder how that happened. Well, I went in there to grab a pop this weekend, and I was like, oh no. There was like 3 of them in the back that had just exploded at some point. And it's set to 45.
I'm telling Allison.
Oh, she knows already. She already
Okay,
knows.
good.
It's set to 45, so I don't know why they're popping. Like, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, I said it. I turned up to 48. We're getting off topic though, but just fun fact for people who care about my personal life.
Yeah. Brian's fridge is at 48 degrees.
And pops are still exploding in there. What is happening? Just as Dominik Shine exploded into that player on the ice for a big hit.
Bang.
Great game by Dominik Shine, just in terms of what was expected. And honestly, like even if he's here for one game, he got a contract good through the end of next year that's going to pay him at the NHL $775,000.
Right.
So
Good for him,
at a
man.
bare minimum, he's going to get a raise. I'm sure it's a 2-way deal. I'd have to double check on that. I don't know the exact details, but even if it's a 2-way deal, that's a massive pay raise. So all his hard work, even if he spends the rest of the season and next season in the AHL, he got a massive pay bump because of it. So well-deserved, super happy
and there's
for him.
It makes it more like viable and easier for the team to like use him in the future. If you know what I mean, like if he does just get sent right back down, it makes him more of a viable option when players go on, the IR, there's an injury or whatnot in this year or next year. So yeah, like good for him, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to look too, see if so his minor salary is prorated this year, obviously. So he's got $120,000 this year in the minors, and now $250,000 next year if he's in Grand Rapids versus if he's up here. So I mean, that's a huge pay bump no matter where he's at. I'm sure he's gunning for NHL slot, but I'm really happy for him. The other big notable moment from this hockey game, Elmer Soderblom, finally the bill came and he got paid, scored a goal. He was due for the last 3 games, just playing out of his mind, and it was kind of bailing out Christian Fischer for having a breakaway and just completely missing the net too. Really happy to see Elmer Soderblom get a goal, and Christian Fischer did get an assist on that. So
awesome, yeah. This really was a game where, again, we talked about it at the beginning. The Kings had possession of the puck for a lot of it, but it didn't feel like the Wings. It didn't feel like one of those games where you're like, oh wow, like they super didn't deserve to win either. Like they had a lot of really strong performances in this game. They just couldn't hold possession of the puck for prolonged periods of time.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that in segment 3, like how the possession metrics are so skewed in this hockey game, despite the score going the complete opposite direction. Because it's one of those games where it's just like, I know the Kings were the better team in this hockey game just by watching, like 60-minute hockey game, Kings looked better, Wings scored more goals. That happens. But I don't think it was as lopsided as it makes it seem. So I want to talk about that in segment 3. I still do want to talk about Cam Talbot as well. Special teams coming up huge again. If we have time, second pair, Albert Johansson. But if not, we'll finish off talking just about injury updates. So stay tuned for that in segment 3 of Lockdown Red Wings. Loud
water
ass
there.
sip.
Clearly hit the bottom of the cup on that one. Golly. Super out of water.
So stupid. Just like dead silent. All you hear is you sipping on nothing. Okay.
I didn't know it was empty. It's weird. So it's kind of like a newer, not brand new. I've had it for a couple of months, but it's like a newer cup. And so the weight, like it's a little heavier. So it still just kind of feels like there's some water in there sometimes. And I get
Maybe next time just give it a little shake. Just
yeah.
swishing in there.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I'm starting to cry. Segment 3.
We're really crushing it today.
Wings.
We got a lot going on.
It's been a fun episode. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, Cam Talbot, another game where he was excellent, talking about briefly before the break, and I'm sure here subsequently after talking about Cam Talbot, another game where the Red Wings were kind of giving up a ton of expected goals. They didn't get scored on, but gave up a ton of expected goals. And so Cam Talbot, despite only facing 25 shots, was excellent in this hockey game of preventing a ton of high danger chances.
Well, and even, one of the goals he gave up was an own
Not
goal.
his fault.
Like,
Yeah.
it was just, you know what I mean? Like, that one doesn't even really, it does count against him on the stat sheet, but you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really count in terms of like goals allowed. That was a mishap from him and Sider. Like, in terms of the actual shots he faced from the opposing team,
Right.
He was fantastic. Yeah. And even like the one goal he gave up was just, he was perfectly screened and it was a snipe. And like that, you know, you tip your cap and move on. So yeah, that's two nights it's 2 nights in a row, but like, we've been talking about how he's been performing well above expectations all season. So he's had a great year, obviously, but you want to highlight the last 2 games specifically. He's been literally a goal away, I would say, from like perfect. Like he's been on a whole nother level for sure.
920 save percentage officially, but his goal saved above expected was like a 2.45 again, and he had a 4.34 the game before that. I mean, that's 3 straight games for Cam Talbot, 3 straight great performances. Age isn't slowing him down at all yet, which is just incredible. As he's just been the 1A for the Detroit Red Wings this entire season. I wonder, I got to imagine they give Alex Lyon the start come Thursday, but Friday, actually. I think this game's it's on Thursday because it's 2 nights off. But that's 2 nights off where Cam Talbot could reset, and you're on a 4-game point streak, 3-game win streak. Like, maybe you just go back to the guy who's winning you hockey games. He's been fantastic. But yeah, this is a good opportunity again to talk about how, like, despite all the exciting stuff that happened in this hockey game, and we've mentioned it a couple times, like the Kings were the better team in this hockey game. Despite the Red Wings outshooting the Kings 28-25, the Kings had 67 5-on-5 shot attempts at 5-on-5, 76 total across the entire game. Compare that to the Red Wings 49 at 5-on-5 and 56 total. Like the Kings had consistent pressure and shot attempts in the offensive zone, and in the second period they were huge stretches where they would just constantly have the puck in the offensive zone. The Red Wings could not clear the puck to save their life, and that was something we did see a little bit against Tampa, not at all against Montreal. They dominated that game, but just the inability to win that race to the puck, intercept the puck, win the board battle, and make the pass or the chip out. A lot of times they were failed clears, they were failed passes. Just inability to get that puck out almost came back to bite them. And the only reason, besides Cam Talbot, that they weren't outshot and they weren't outscored was they blocked 19 of those. And that's good. You want to see them block a ton of shots. But you also have got to do a better job of cleaning it up in your own end. That's something that has kind of been transparent throughout their success, the 7-game winning streak, and now the 3-game winning streak, the 3-game losing streak they had. The success and the failure of this team is in the defensive zone. They're still giving up too much pressure and too many golden opportunities. They're outscoring, again, kind of like last year, they're outscoring their problems. And that's their strength, is they're a very good goal-scoring team when they play to their strength. But defensively, if it's not Ben Sherratt and it's not Moritz Seider, and from Simon Edvinsson and Albert Johansson are getting better, but I thought they were quite hemmed in this hockey game, although they were excellent in the offensive zone.
Edmondson was puck was just bouncing off his stick all night.
Dude,
it was weird. The positioning was great, and he still had a fine game, but man, just could not keep the puck on his stick for the life of him.
Just they got to do a better job of keeping the opportunities away from the net front. A lot of those times when the Kings had sustained pressure, they were keeping it along the perimeter.
Yeah,
but I mean, just 67% expected goals for percentage for the Kings in this hockey game is a little unacceptable.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I mean, they scored 5 goals. It was a weird game where, looking at the eye test,
it's a little acceptable. Clearly, it's not completely unacceptable because they won by 3 goals. So clearly, it's kind of acceptable sometimes. But yes, right. I think your point is very valid.
You just got to be better in your own end. You got to be better at winning possession and getting that puck out of the zone.
Yeah, big time. And like Larkin was good in the faceoff circle in this game, but that's another thing that they continually. Wow, I don't really know why I chose that word. That they need to continue to improve on. Yeah.
Larkin had 2 assists, by the way, and 7 shots in this hockey game, something crazy like that. So
he was everywhere.
And a very selfless play at the end of the game to give the second goal to Marco Kasper. Look, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here in the final segment because I do think that the stats are a little bit skewed because even though I do think the Kings possessed the puck and had more opportunities throughout a full 60 minutes, I don't think they were as skewed as Natural Stat Trick and Money Puck are shown, but all of them say it was. So, and it's not even the expected goal stat, just the shot attempts, which is a counting stat. Kings had 76 in this hockey game. That's crazy. That is an insane amount of shot attempts that they took. That's not great. But Wings still outshot them because they were able to block a lot of those shots, or the Kings missed the net. So, I don't know. That's why it's so weird, and it feels so skewed, because how do you have 76 shot attempts, but only 23, 25 make it to the net?
Yeah, and then, Talbot's on his head, so it's...
Right.
Yeah.
But it's
weird,
that's 50
weird
shot
game.
Attempts. 50 shot attempts that don't make it to the net. Where do those go? Where do those go? You only blocked 19.
Yeah, we'll take it.
That's why part of me is some of it doesn't, it seems more skewed than it was. You know what I mean? I know I'm talking in a circle this time. The final time I say it. The Kings did definitely carry the bulk of the play, but I don't think it was as bad as what the eye test kind of implied.
The eye test insists upon itself.
This conversation for off the air about the insists upon itself thing that I had with a friend group. So, but I won't bore people on it bore people with it on here. Final stuff to note: injuries. Right, we got Vladimir Tarasenko
in IR, retroactive to his last game, though. Yeah,
21st.
Or the day after his last game.
Yeah, it was the 21st.
Yeah, so that'll eat a decent chunk of that time, and yeah, I mean we'll see. I'm sure we'll talk about it, on an off day. We got 2 off days now, yeah. So
yeah, we'll probably talk about the quarter century team on one of those.
Yeah, quarter century team obviously, and then kind of if Kane is out, what the top 6 could continue to look at. Obviously we got a glimpse on Monday night. So.
Mm-hmm. Tarasenko was sick, sick yes. Apparently.
Yeah.
And Comfer was out because of the high hit he took. Probably, I mean, if they never say, they just say upper body injury, but if it's what it looked like it could have been based on the hit, he probably shouldn't have finished that hockey game. But that's for the spotters to decide.
For sure.
Lilberg did get suspended 2 games for that hit on Comfer. And then Tyler Mott was healthy and played in this hockey game for the first time in a while.
Yeah, he almost scored. Scored, man. He had a nice wrister that hit literally off of the end, the outside. I don't know my muscle groups well enough, but literally right on the far outside of the arm, and just barely bounced away. Just got a piece of it in net. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just barely missed. That would have been nice. He has one goal in the season, I think.
Yeah,
I think so. Maybe 2. I'll double check. It's not like I don't have a second monitor here to check. Anyway, Scotty, final thoughts.
We ball, baby.
We do ball. Red Wings, 3-game win streak, 4-game point streak, 2 games out of a final wild card spot, and I believe 3 points out of third in the division, but still 7th in the division. That is insane. I'm going to go off on a tangent again. How in the hell, Scotty, are the Red Wings second to last in the division at 53 points, but just 3 points out of third in the division? That's
ridiculous.
This Eastern Conference is stacked right now. A bunch of teams pushing to leave the rebuilding phase. All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Montreal being like solid this year certainly made that interesting. So
right. I mean, the Red Wings are 6-3-1 in their last 10. Canadians are 6-2-2. Tampa Bay's 5-4-1. Boston's 5-3-2. Ottawa's 7-2-1. It's just everyone's above 500 in the last 10. I mean, the Flyers won tonight too. So that was another team that you're fighting for playoffs positioning with, and they won. They beat the Devils. So it's just the Red Wings are winning, but so is everyone else. You just got to keep winning. Anyways, same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Okay.